dog. We said it best. You heard us. We pay you, boy. Shut up. Go about your business, boy. We pay you. Fire to the boat. Same thing. On the set.
Ooh! Hey!
This one's a doozy. So this one actually all starts with a LackLuster video. If you don't know the YouTube channel LackLuster, where have you been? We'll leave a link to his channel in the description of this video. So LackLuster makes a video about a man named Nate Argent, who's out of Stuttgart, Arkansas. And Nate had been arguing with his ex-wife on the phone, and the nice lady that she is decided to call the cops on him while he's at work and tell them that he is suicidal. So that's when Stuttgart Police Department Sergeant Williams and a couple officers, they show up. They end up arresting him for not answering questions and get him fired from his job. Here's a clip from that.
Hey, so your wife wanted us to check on you.
My wife?
Yeah. Are you going through something?
Yeah, but...
Can you put your hands out of your pocket for me? No, you're good.
Am I being detained?
No. Hey, I need you to come back over here and talk to me, though. That's a order. Hey. Sir?
Yes or no?
Sir? I'm just trying to... Listen, we're just doing a welfare check on you.
Yes. Am I being detained? Yes or no?
Not right now. I need to talk to you.
Gotta get back to work.
He don't want to talk.
Hey, come here. Come here.
Here's the waste of time. I'm not doing it.
Well, it's not wasting your time. Right now you're detained. We're here lawfully. We got a call about it. So what's going on?
Detained for what?
Well, if you're suicidal, that is a crime.
It's a crime to be suicidal?
It is.
Well, I'm not suicidal, so...
Well, that's not what we got.
Well, that's
Do you
not
have your
my
ID
problem.
on you?
Nope.
You're going to go to jail. Walk away.
Then take me to jail.
If you walk away from me, you're going to jail.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Obstruction. So keep arguing.
So, I'm being detained for what?
We got a call. We're here to talk to you. I don't care if you want to talk to us or not.
Okay. So you're just going to keep me out in the cold?
I will. So what is going on?
I'm not talking to you without any further questions.
That's fine. Go ahead and turn around and show you back.
Oh, well, you can detain me without handcuffs. I think you're just intimidating me, you asshole. Alright. In front of work. You twat.
Well, go on at this route. Okay.
Alright. Yeah.
Do you have anything that's going to poke, stick, and stab you?
Oh,
You don't know?
probably.
Okay.
If there is anything in there, can you please let us know? Hey, Nathan.
That's fine, because if anything does tell me, that's a charge.
Really?
Really?
It's your own risk, asshole. I told you that something might be in there. And it might. I'm sorry, why are you searching me?
Well,
Why are you... Because this is more than a Terry stop.
yes, it is.
Or I'm obviously not obstructing you.
You obviously were.
Okay.
Because when you walk away from us, when we're here legally, and you were detained, that is obstruction.
You walk away from me.
You were 100% walking away from us.
At first. That was before you told me I was detained. And it will show on your body cam. What? Yeah, you're just violating my right. Well, there's no violation of rights when you're under arrest. This is a false arrest. Well, there's no violation of rights when you're under arrest. Well, there's no violation of rights when you're under arrest.
So all the charges were dropped on Nate, but Sergeant Williams and his officers, they saw no discipline, they saw no repercussions. They don't know your rights, they don't know their own job, they are incompetent, they are ignorant, and they saw no discipline and no repercussions, and they probably just laughed about it and continued on like it was nothing. Now, this made me mad, and this made another YouTube channel, Auditing Arkansas, mad. So him and I decided to go to Stuttgart, Arkansas and ask some questions. And this is when I met Sgt John Jackson. What's up? I'm in Stuttgart, Arkansas. We're here in response to a video that LackLuster posted of a man being arrested at his job for refusing to talk to police. Are there any officers here that we could speak with?
I'm not sure, but I could check that out for you.
The highest that's here would be awesome.
Okay, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, I have my sergeant coming up here to speak to me.
Cool, thank you.
What?
You a sergeant?
Yes, sir.
I think you were just coming to talk to us. I hope you weren't busy doing something different. I just had a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
So we were just making a I'm Justin, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Sergeant Jackson.
Sergeant Jackson, nice to meet you, brother. Here, I'll stand up. So, we're here in reference, we're wondering about what happened with Sergeant Williams.
Okay.
I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, where he had arrested a man named Matt, I believe. Nate, sorry. All the charges were dropped on him, but Sergeant Williams was out there making a call for service, and he didn't want to talk to him, and he ended up arresting him. You know, did he get retrained after that in any way?
That I'm not aware of. We work opposite shifts, so right now, he's on nights and I'm on days.
So you don't really know what's going on with him.
Well, I haven't heard about it, but you know.
Do you know, would you, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, would you have done it the same way? Do you believe that it's okay to arrest someone that refuses to talk to police?
That'd be a kind of, a comment, but unlikely. They was here for a welfare call, so
well, this is something that the public wants to know. Is that just something that Sergeant Williams does, or is that Stuttgart Police in general?
No, that's not Stuttgart Police in general.
So you wouldn't arrest someone just because they don't want to speak with an officer?
Well, therefore, me not knowing the call that he was called on, but it was a welfare check from what I'm understanding.
Well, let's say that circumstance, would you have arrested him as well, like Sergeant Williams did?
You've seen the video, haven't you?
I have.
Have you?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay.
Would you have arrested him, or what would you have done?
I mean, just me, my experience in law enforcement is me. If I'm going there for a welfare check, as long as I see he's okay, that's my own thing.
Right. That's what I would have done. I just picture what I would have done in Sergeant Williams' situation, and I would have tried to talk to him. If he doesn't want to talk to me, then I'm going to give him a fist bump and tell him to have a better day. I'm not going to arrest him, so now he definitely wants to kill himself. You know, like that just makes it worse. But okay, so the public was just very curious if that's a Stuttgart thing or if that's a Sergeant Williams thing.
That's not a Stuttgart thing.
Okay.
All right, good job.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yes, sir.
And there is a wrong answer, but I'm hoping you say the right answer. What does the thin blue line flag mean to you?
To serve and protect my community. I appreciate you knocking me on that, man.
I appreciate you coming in and talking to Cannon with us.
Yeah, that's like real people, man, and you're definitely one of them. So I appreciate you.
No problem. Appreciate you.
Have a good day. You too.
I know you got better things to do right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just, trying to help you guys as much as I can, okay?
I really appreciate that.
No problem.
See you. So Sergeant John Jackson, I think, is the first cop I've ever seen admit he wouldn't have done what some other idiot did, which isn't a big deal. That's just called being human. But cops aren't typically human when they're on the clock. They're robots. And they'll back the blue no matter what happened, no matter what craziness went down. They can't admit, I wouldn't have done the same thing there. They just have to back their brother in blue no matter what. So this is the first cop I've ever seen not do that. So 5 months goes by, and I see this in my comment section. It's a comment from EX Sgt John Jackson, because he's no longer a cop. What happened? Here's what happened. So it's just a few months back, March 2024, and there's a drug bust going on in a trailer park in Stuttgart. And there's all kinds of people outside. They're watching, talking, they're videotaping. And a man named Javon Turner yells from across the street, "F you and your drug dog," to one of the officers with the drug dog. Well, that's when Chief Bobo from DeWitt, Arkansas, I'm not even sure why he's here because this is not in his jurisdiction. He's trying to talk to Javon. Well, a moment or two later, Officer Britton Brooks runs from across the street 30 feet away and violently spears, tackles, then arrests Javon Turner for talking. So he gets taken to jail. All kinds of charges are trumped up. No bond. You know the drill.
We said it best. You heard us. We pay you, boy. Shut up. Go about your business, boy. We pay you. Stand to the vote. Stand there. On the set.
Ooh! Hey!
So after all this happens, John Jackson sees it, and then off the clock, he makes this Facebook post. Now, he's already been in trouble for talking to me, so now he's immediately suspended for speaking out against the department. So I asked him for an interview, I jump in my car, and I head to Stuttgart.
I just said because of the situation that happened, I said free Javon Turner, a.k.a. the barber. I get my hair cut by this guy all the time. He's not disrespectful. You know, he was just over there and the guy mumbled off something to him, you know what I'm saying, and he smarted off back to the guy, and all of a sudden this became a big issue. And, but...
If you can't take a little back talk...
Yeah, I mean, you know how many people didn't flip me off and cuss me out as being an officer, you know?
Right.
Have a nice day, you know, it's time I got to keep it moving, keep it pushing. I mean, people have their right, you know, it's called freedom of speech. You know, as long as they're not interrupting, and he wasn't interrupting, and, you know, the same...
30 foot away,
yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, so this is when I posted that, and basically I was attacked at my job because I said free Javon Turner. They used it as a social media policy, that they basically said that I violate social media policy by mentioning anything about the job. As you see, this says nothing about the job.
Yeah, technically it's not.
Yeah. I'm off the clock, I'm not on the job, I'm not at work. So I can't say free Javon Turner. It was wrong what happened and what took place that day. And I was written up and suspended before they did anything to the guy who was basically, he wasn't even supposed to be at work that day.
Brooks wasn't?
No. But his sister-in-law is the lieutenant.
Okay, so let's start from the top here.
Yes, sir.
And this will kind of help me tie it all together. Actually, first, just a quick, what's your background? How long have you been a cop? Were you a cop anywhere else before Stuttgart?
No, sir. My background is just, you know, I used to work in before I was a police officer, Lennox. And that's where I kind of, you know, and that's where I'm back at now. I'm a supervisor.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
I took the supervisor position, and as exactly what I was doing at the police department, you know. So
right.
This is basically kind of a job that I always wanted to do for, you know, ever since I was a kid. I've been doing this job for four years. Would have been going on 5 years.
And already a sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Wow, yeah.
I was there for two and a half years before I even, you know, decided. And it wasn't until we lost our sergeant, Scooby, God rest his soul, badge number 206. You know, he's the one who inspired me to want to step up and, you know what I'm saying, and be a leader due to the fact that, you know, what happened to him. And I wanted to make sure that this didn't happen to any of my guys that was working beside me or with me. See, I never considered myself to be over them, but to be a part of, you know, the crew. You know, If you guys had any questions, you know, if I didn't know, then it's my job to find out and then let you guys know. Or if we have a situation, hey, you can go this route, you can go this route, or you can go this route. you know, the choice. You know, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but here's your, you know, your blueprint of what you can do.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I know this isn't really what the story's about today, but I am curious. So that you had mentioned, so the day we spoke, when Michael Williams had arrested Nate Argent for being suicidal or whatever, he wasn't talking. I came up there after that video was posted by LackLuster and spoke with you. I actually just asked to speak to somebody. I was making some FOIA requests. They sent you out to talk to me. Just curious what they told you I was there for.
They just told me, John, it was somebody. They just told me, well, of course, when they dispatched me, they was like, someone here needs to speak with you. And so, you know, it just them knowing, you know, they saw your cameras, they saw you
Both
guys.
of us had cameras.
So they saw you guys, which means that there's a lieutenant, a captain, and a chief back there. And they violated the social media policy, the same one that they wrote me up for.
What did they do? How did they violate it?
Because if anything you post on social media, which you was gonna get ready, you know, you were recording, you was actually recording, which means that, you know, they had to. It didn't take common sense to say, okay, this guy's a reporter, or either he has a media platform.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So at that point, they violated social media policy by calling me up there to speak to you.
Oh, they sent you out?
Yeah.
Oh.
By sending me there to talk to you, knowing that you were actively recording.
So it wasn't even just the dispatch lady that called you and you were just like, what's up? But actually your lieutenant told you to come down and talk?
Well, actually, I was dispatched by, I don't know who it was on the radio,
okay.
but when I got there, I saw a couple of dispatchers there, and I also saw a couple of people that was upper management at me that could have came out and said, they could have told them, hey, no, we're not going to. Don't dispatch him to this call. Let me just go out and handle it and see what he wants, see what he, you know.
Yeah.
So they put me on the spot, and then nothing was said. Nobody got rolled up. Nobody got in trouble with it. But because I decided to say Javon Turner, free Javon Turner, all of a sudden now I'm violating.
Did you get in trouble for talking to me at all? Did they write you up at that moment?
No, it was like quiet. You know, nobody said anything. They didn't say anything about it.
So they didn't say anything about that.
No, they didn't say anything. But it's in my file.
Oh, but they did put it in your file.
Everything that I done was in my file. Like things that I didn't know I was being investigated about. It had nothing to do with me. Right. They were investigating me on it and putting it into my file.
That's interesting. They probably sent, I don't know. In my experience, they usually send the guy they think's the nicest guy out to talk, like if anyone at all.
Yes, sir.
And if he's not available, then I don't ever see anybody, you know.
Yes, sir.
But you want to know what? You're the only cop that's ever said, no, I wouldn't have done the same thing the last guy did. Which is all anyone really wants, is just people to be real people. And, you know, clearly he made a mistake. It's okay, he made a mistake. But to double down and say, no, he didn't, and I would do the same thing. And that's what they all do. And that's what I was wondering if maybe they were mad at you about. I wouldn't say you talked bad about the department, but you just admitted that there was a mistake made and you wouldn't do the same thing. I don't see what's so wrong about that.
Me either. He clearly, you know, made a mistake just like the way you said. But as far as them speaking to him, trying to correct him on what he done, it wasn't none of that. It was like it was just like it was okay. Because he, you know, like I said, he's very close to the lieutenant. He's very close to the chief. Him and the chief go on bike rides together. So what's gonna get done? Nothing.
If you're going on bike rides with the chief, you're good, man.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, so then that brings us into Javon Turner, which you kind of already did talk about a little bit, but let's get back into it. So, so I just want to reiterate, there is a drug bust going on in the neighborhood he lives in. He's 30 foot away or so, across the street, across the road, or whatever. Everyone's kind of talking crap. I'm sure everyone's kind of talking and yelling. Mm-hmm. He's one of them. Yeah. He says something directly to Britton Brooks, who's also the K-9 officer.
No, it wasn't Britton Brooks. It was actually I can't think of this guy's name, but he's I believe he's Unit 9 by the Arkansas County, the deputy sheriff.
Oh, he's a sheriff?
Yes, sir. He basically comes across the road. Bobo was across the road, already close to the guy before anybody really basically even, you know, even touched the guy. So I saw no reason why Brooks had to come over to escalate and basically assault this guy. I mean, you got to look at it. Anytime that it below the head and neck area is considered could be looked at as attempted. You know what I'm saying? Murder. Because guess what? If he would have hit his head and he would have exactly died right there, then what?
Yeah.
So we had to be careful as law officers. We were exactly trained by the academy in Camden. You know where to strike people at. You know where to hit people at. He assaulted this guy. Could have been a deadly blow, and it was just looked over. Nothing really basically happened to this guy. The mayor lied to the public and said that he was being investigated by state police. State police wrote a comment in the newspaper, declined it, and said that, you know, we are not investigating because it's basically clear cut. This is not a decision that, you know, we should be able to make, but the mayor herself. So this guy is still working for the police department.
Really?
Yeah.
How come the chief doesn't want to get rid of him?
Because of the fact that his two lieutenants, who are Kayla Jenkins and Jessica McSwain, are basically intertwined together. They're basically dating.
Okay.
They basically run the department. And guess what? That's one of their brother-in-laws who's married to one of their sisters, which is a dispatcher. So if you kind of get rid of one and one don't like it, guess what?
You can't, yeah. You can't do that.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much safe too.
Yeah.
Interesting. But you're not safe.
I'm not.
You didn't go bike riding with any of them?
No, sir.
So he yells something at the K9 unit guy or whatever. They're bickering back and forth, and I am going to get that body cam if I can. But then that's when Bobo goes over there and tells him to chill out. Or
No, he was like, come here. He was like, come here. And the guy was like, no, you can't touch me. You know, he was like basically backing up. You know, he didn't run. He was just backing up and saying, no, you can't touch me. And he was just like trying to get him to come here, you know, trying to basically.
Bobo was?
Yeah, you know. And you could just tell that they were trying to basically just bully him, trying to, you know, show the crowd that who was in control, that type, you know. Like, we're not the feelings police.
Right.
You know, everybody's going to, you know, basically have they come in and say things and do little things that's probably going to agitate us. But never are we supposed to allow anybody. You being a chief that's not even from this county, you're indeed with. Right. You allowed this man to say, you could have stopped and say, oh, no, I'm saying, no. So the lieutenant across the road could have said, no, Brooks. But no, everybody watched this man come from 30 foot across the road from that trailer, run across the road, which is probably about a 15-foot road, and tackle this guy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And so Javon, did he go to jail that day?
Yeah, he did. They arrested him for disorderly, which he was never warned. They say, hey, if you don't be quiet, you know, this is what's can possibly happen. He got criminal mischief. I don't know how he got criminal mischief. It was so many charges. It was like, I want to say about 3 charges, like 2 charges for criminal mischief. It was said that he did something to the van that they loaded him up in. But I think he did, if I can remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, he was stating that he wasn't placed in the seatbelt, and when they hit the brakes, he hit his head on one of the glass, and so they charged him with that.
No way.
I'm not lying. And so it was just, you know,
so they were just trying to get him.
Yeah. It's called as they used to tell me when I was working active with the police department. I used to just tell them, you know, when all they yelling, I saw a deer. So guess what? If I see a deer, then that's what's gonna happen. Yeah. So it's crazy, ain't it? Yeah. You know, which I value people. You know, people lie more. You know, just the things that I seen and hear in law enforcement. You know, I went to the academy and I swore to take an oath that I was going to protect the innocent, protect the weak. That's not the case.
That's pretty. It seems like it's forgotten by a lot of people.
Yeah, it's forgotten. So, by me being fair, firm, and consistent with everyone that I dealt with, it made me look like, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, nobody wanted to work with me because guess what? I didn't do things the dirty way. You know, I'm not stacking charges for what? A lot of these people that's driving on suspended license, guess what? They're trying to pay your license, and guess what you do? You instead of writing for this and then let them go, guess what? You're writing them, you're towing the vehicle, you're putting them in a bind, you're doing this, you're doing that. I like to give them advice, and I like to give them kind of, you know, ways of they can get this past them. Hey, go and get you a temporary driver's license to drive back and forth to work. See, people
don't even know that.
Yeah, they never told them that.
And then you wonder why, now I don't like cops because the one time I get pulled over, they just put me in a worse position than I was in. Yeah. Now imagine getting pulled over by you and saying, hey, I'm not going to write you a ticket and here's how you actually take care of it. it's hard to be like, I hate cops after that, you know? It's a difference, and it's how you get treated.
Yes,
And
sir.
it goes both ways, but
Yes, sir.
yeah. That's the thing off the top of your head about just the way they acted there, that you weren't, you know, like any stories or anything like that?
Yes, sir. It was a matter of fact. It was a story. I believe it was October the 19th of 2023. It was a shooting call that we were on. Me, Jim Gnack, Nicole Stewart, Hunter Miller, and it was our lieutenant at the time, Jennifer Crossett. I ended up locating the shells, you know, on Berkeley, Washington, and my other sergeant that was on duty with me, which is Jim, he said, "Hey, go to the store up there and see if they saw anything." So what I did is I left and went to the store and asked anybody to see anything. You know, people were like, "No, we just seen a car that was, you know, just coming by real fast, and they heard shots." So while he was still looking, that's where I was, and I came back and located the shots before he did. At that point, we heard more shots going out, and I was kind of trying to, and that's what I told him. I said, "Hey, Jim, go ahead and contact CID, because if I find shells, the most thing I'm thinking about is I, you know, started thinking detective-wise. Let's go ahead and get them out here and collect these shells, see if we can get some fingerprints off them by the crime lab. Because guess what? If they shot bullets, they had to do what? Load them. Right. And to load them, guess what you got to do? Touch them. Right. So he told me, he was like, we have no suspect. Why we need to call them? And so I said, Jim, this is a crime scene. There's a shot trial. We don't know who's been, if it's been somebody in the house. We don't know. And so by that time, some more shots rang out. And he looks at me and he says, we don't have enough people for this shit. And so he leaves me and it's at that shooting scene by myself and goes, I don't know where, but later I did find out he went to the police department and was eating shrimp.
What?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
No way.
Him and the lieutenant that was on shift, while me and Stewart and Mira were out trying to figure out where these shots fires come. So I was about to get hit by a car, just out there trying to secure the scene, you know, pick up the shells. So I just said, forget it. I picked them up by hand because it seems like, you know, when stuff hit the fan like this, people start, you know, tucking their tails and they want to go to the safe place. I left that area after I picked up the shells and I went to assist Corporal Stewart at the time, Nicole Stewart, and Miller. Miller at that time was on a 180-day probation period, so he couldn't do anything because he was such a hostile worker when he left and then came back to the apartment. He was living with the chief at that time. Him and the chief were roommates.
No way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hold on, what's his name?
His name was Hunter Miller, and the chief name is David Parker.
Is he still the chief?
Yes, sir, he is. I was told that he moved to Benton to live with the new assistant chief in Benton. Yes, sir. So apparently he has a, you know, I don't know why he like to, you know, live with people that he worked with.
Yeah.
But you know, accordingly, I was told that by Corporal Stewart, who's still actively working at the police department. And at that night, you know, I had one of those. I had floaters. I don't know if you know what floaters was. Like it's when you piercing your eyes, little sharp little things that kind of.
Oh yeah.
So I had those, and I end up. I know when I get those, I'm finna have a headache. So after everything was done and you know finished out, you know, by that time the lieutenant had left. She left kind of in the middle of everything was kind of still active but not active. So about an hour later, I believe, I don't know, I can't recall, but I told her, I said, hey, I'm gonna be 10-7, I'm not feeling well. You know, she stated okay, and I told him, I said, hey, you know, I'm not feeling well, my medication not working, which I take medicine for my, you know, for my migraine, and I let him know that hey, it's not working. While off, you know, he told me to get to feeling better and come back to work, you know what I'm saying, when I was feeling better. So he told me to come back, he told me to take off the weekend and come back. So Corporal Stewart calls me and say, hey, you know, they promoted Kayla to lieutenant. At this time, we got a head lieutenant. So they added another female to lieutenant, which
3 female lieutenants.
Yeah.
How many lieutenants are there?
So there was Jessica. She was the lieutenant of CID. There's Crossett, who was already the lieutenant of patrol. So they added another lieutenant of patrol by adding Kayla. Yeah.
Kayla, I haven't heard her name yet.
Kayla Jenkins.
Jenkins.
Yeah. And I was like, wow. I was like, she already got about like 4 promotions in the last 4 months. Kayla Jenkins had been promoted to CID/sergeant over dispatch. So now she's over her sister. So another month or 2 passed, and Kayla has been promoted to sergeant over drugs. She's already in SID. Why come she needs to have that position? And now here it goes with the lieutenant. So I'm just like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's going to ever get a chance to get promoted or move up or anything. And I posted that. I mean, I did. I was upset because I felt like, you know what I'm saying, no matter how hard I work, you know, nobody's going to get a fair opportunity if you already have it who in mind you're going to get a job to.
Yeah.
There's no equal job opportunity. On my way back from being off, you know, doing that accident, guess what? I walk in the door, her first thing she was going to do is take my bag and gun. I was approached by Sean Watson, who is a detective of CID. He said, we need to talk to you in the room. And she said that, hey, I need your badge and gun. And I said, what's going on? She just said, I want you to get the help that you need, you know, that you need. And I was just trying, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
That kind of made me mad.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I post this about you. I know you've seen it.
Yeah.
So the first thing you're gonna do is take my badge and gun, ask active lieutenant.
What'd you post about her exactly?
I said, dang, this mug don't miss a promotions. Who gets 4 or 5 promotions in less than 4 months? Yeah. And so I guess somebody screenshot and sent it to her. And guess what? When I came back to work, her first thing she was gonna do is take my badge and gun.
Because she's worried about you, huh?
Yeah.
That was her kind of.
Yeah.
That was her.
So, and guess what? I went to the Human Resource office, and she told me just to go and talk to her and see what I was supposed to do. So I'm still trying to figure out what's going on, why my badge and gun getting taken. But all whole long, you know, when it took me time to really dissect everything, I figured out this is what's going on. They're coming for my license now. You know what I'm saying? Because they said that I walked off the job. Someone lied on me and said that I walked off the job due to a panic attack.
So was this before or after your post about free Javon?
This happened before Javon.
That was before.
Yeah.
And so you already know now, like, I'm not part of this club.
Yeah.
And they want me out pretty much.
Yeah.
So they didn't take it away right then though, right? Obviously.
My badge and gun.
Yeah.
No, they took it right then and there. Like I was about to clock in. I got to walk right back out the door. You know, I filed for my folder. Now before this happened, my folder was so thin that you could see through it. Now after this, oh my God! I had to order one of those things at the post office to be able to send to my lawyer. Pictures of me off Facebook, just random pictures, man.
Just anything they can have.
Anything that they could have.
Imagine being that. So they're out to get you.
They're out to get me, man.
Why would you create a giant file, including these pictures off Facebook, unless you were out to get somebody, you know?
Yeah.
If you don't care, you know, if it was bygones be bygones and let's go on, then why are you creating a giant file about me?
Yeah.
When do you think it started? Actually, that's a question. When do you think it started?
It started once I made it clear that I'm not okay with being looked over. If I'm being fair and I'm treating all my coworkers the same, whether they black, blue, yellow, and green, why am I and other people who work here who are seeing this but are afraid to say anything? Why are we not getting the same opportunities of applying for this job, showing you what we can do, and this is what her girlfriend said every time, which is Jessica, who was over CID at this time. She said she got the job and it wasn't because of me. Well, thanks for letting us know that it's because of you. Because if you have to say that every time, then you basically telling us that you had something to do with it. I stand up. I'm not kissing butt. I'm not going to sit out here and do the dirty things that they do, man. And what I mean by dirty things, just like going out here harassing people. Like, I'm not gonna go out here and look through the warrants and find all the black people. You know what I'm saying? And then go out here and start arresting all the black people. Like,
Does that happen?
Man, yes, it does.
Really?
Yeah. I had a person that wanted to be here, and I told her she wanted to come. She wanted to come clean. And her name is Nicole Stewart. She wanted to come clean. She said, "Just let me know when you have this." I said, "No, because I don't want them firing you. You gotta, I want you to, because once they see this, and once they have this, yeah, they're gonna fire you." And I don't want you. You know what I'm saying? She wants to come clean. She knows the things that going. She knows a lot. You know.
So she wants to talk about, or possibly she wants to talk about how they literally are targeting black people.
Yeah.
Or that's one of the things, maybe.
Yeah. Like
that's crazy.
Like the fact that she's been sexually harassed by the co-workers there, and guess what? One of the lieutenants just told one of the supposed to be sergeant at that time to just chill out.
No way.
Yeah. The chief's cousin was basically texting a worker that he sent. He gave the SID job to, went to Pine Bluff, and he was texting her phone even though she's married now, can I take you out, and all this other stuff. So basically she was being sexually harassed there as well. So,
wow.
Yeah, so, and I kind of peeped the timeline out, and I guess she wouldn't have sex with the guy. All of a sudden, guess what? Snatched the SID from her, took the vehicle from her, put her back on the streets at 8 months pregnant. She couldn't even put a vest on, couldn't even belt up her belt. I told her to stay in the car.
No way.
Stay in the car, don't get out.
She was with you,
She was with me because I didn't feel comfortable letting her ride by herself. Me as being a sergeant on that shift and being responsible for the safety of my workers, and especially if my wife were pregnant and going out here and working in one of these factories, I would hope that some man would be man enough to say, "Hey, no, I got that." And a lot of people say, "Well, John, just because if you speaking out about it, one person said okay, but who's going to believe you?" But I say if I speak out about it, then a lot more people might start coming out and speaking out about the injustice in Arkansas County, the injustice in Stuttgart City as a whole, how the chief was sleeping with basically a female that was going out snitching and telling everything that the chief was telling her.
Wow.
And the mayor knew about it. But guess what? That was her pick, so she still allowed him to work here. She still let him keep his job. And even when the chief was allowing one of the employees to live with him, which is Hunter Mueller, and he got to do whatever he wanted to do, he was running the show. Even the dispatchers was mad. Even the ones that's running the police department now, they got him out the way. They made sure they got him out the way so that they could run the show. Now that they are running the show, everything's all good now.
You get your gun and badge taken away for speaking up about the promotion.
Mm-hmm.
What happened from there?
Well, I was told by the mayor, I asked her, of course I had to figure out what was going on. She said, well, someone said that you walked off the job and had a panic attack. It came out her mouth.
That's the mayor said?
No, this came out her name is Carol Abels.
Who's that?
She's the human resource lady at the city hall. She said, you got to go see a therapist to make sure you're fit for duty. She's a therapist. Now, she's a licensed mental therapist. Then I saw Dr. Brawl, who basically, this is like 2 or 3 doctors, but they basically did, the same thing. He released me. He said, man, go back to work. And
it's just being stressed out because of work.
Yeah, they diagnosed me with hostile work environment, because they asked me things about work, and I told them the truth. I was honest with them. They released me to come back to work. I came back to work. They hand me my badge and gun back. Of course, I went back to work. They took my car from me, gave it to a rookie. So and I was just like,
did you get that back?
No.
So you're still sergeant?
Yeah.
With no car?
No car.
What?
Yeah. So I can't remember when you came the last time, but I think when you came the last time, I was driving an Explorer.
Okay.
Yeah, I came.
So that was after.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they said. So they were already kind of at you before I even came.
Yeah.
They sent you out on purpose. That sounds like.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. They sent me out on purpose.
I see.
Yeah. They sent me out on purpose because they was hoping that I'd trip up and say something so they can go back and look and sit around and say, well, you're not supposed to, say that. But you know what I'm saying. I was just being professional about the whole situation, and I knew they sent me out there. So guess what? I wasn't gonna be the jerk and just walk away by knowing that we're not supposed to talk to anybody. You sit me here. You literally sit me here, so I'm gonna sit right here and talk to them. I'm gonna treat them just like I treated everybody else, and I'm gonna answer questions. I'm gonna answer. You know what I'm saying, in the way that I'm supposed to answer, and I'm gonna be honest with you. No, I wouldn't have done that guy like that. I seen he was okay. He doesn't have any kind of weapons on. He's not in distress. He's not crying or, in a mental state. And they embarrassed that man. Then you go in and you tell them everything about what the man, nothing happened to these. Nothing happened to these people for them releasing the information. Like they released information they wasn't supposed to release. And then you made this man lose his job. Yeah. And you still have yours.
And they're not going to lose it. They're going to go do the same thing tomorrow because they didn't learn anything from it.
No, they didn't.
Did they ever say, just curiosity, because it wasn't just me that made a video. I made a video because LackLuster made a video first, which is a bigger channel than mine. Yeah. Did they ever talk about those videos at all? Was it ever like a concern or like?
No, people were more like, officers like, you seen the video? It went viral. And they were like laughing. It was like all like a game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they're laughing about it.
Like that's not a good thing.
No, you should be embarrassed.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's what happened, with this Javon situation. Like, man, hey, I gotta work at this department, and then supposed to be protecting and serving these same people, man. Like, how do you think I feel about seeing that? That's not right, man. If you're over here and you're, securing drugs out of a trailer, and why do you think officers that are not in distress, that are not fighting, need your assistance to run over there and to tackle a guy who has his hands up?
Right.
What threat is he?
Yeah. That's just the mentality. It's that mentality that certain people get with that power.
Yeah. And it was just a bully move, you don't
you aren't going to talk like that to us, and I'll show you type thing. And some people just walk around like that.
Just because they have a mouth on them. Heck, my wife says things I don't like, but I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Put my hands on her.
Yeah.
That's not the way we was trained. That's not the way that the academy in Camden taught us, man. They do things like that, and they kind of really, it hurt my feelings. They kind of really, upset me. For the department, it's embarrassing to put on this uniform and to go out here and supposed to be building a relationship with the community. Supposed to be, showing them that they can trust us, and with that, man, and then the mayor just allows it to happen and lies to the community and say that, hey, I got a state police investigator. State police came forward and like, nope, but he's still working there. And then y'all suspended me before y'all even disciplined him.
So then, and that's wild. So then so just to reiterate the whole timeline, you get your gun and badge taken away for speaking up about the promotion.
Yeah.
You go to a psych eval, you get it all back. Then I come. All that happens. Then this thing with Javon happens. You make a Facebook post off the clock saying free Javon because he's in jail.
Yeah.
How long was he in jail?
I want to say he was in jail all weekend. It was probably like 3 or 4 days he was in jail.
And so,
without a bond.
Without a bond.
Yeah. One of the officers messed up, but they made sure that
they did that on purpose.
They did it on purpose.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, they did it on purpose.
So you make a Facebook post over the weekend. You're off, I'm guessing, and then you come back in Monday or whatever day it is, and then they say I need your badge and gun again. Is that? Yeah. So tell me about that when you came back in after the Facebook post. We haven't talked about that yet.
Okay, so when I came back from the Facebook post, let me make sure I say this correct, because they only took my badge and gun when they wanted me to talk to the mental therapist.
Oh, okay.
So this time when I came back, I still had my badge and gun, but I was off, and they supposedly stated that they suspended him, but he was supposedly, when they suspend you for investigation, guess what? You get paid to leave. But it didn't take them no time to investigate if I violate the social media policy.
Right.
They automatically considered that. But I posted free Javon Turner, nothing about the city of Stuttgart, nothing about work. I wasn't on the clock, that I violated social media policy.
Okay, so he was suspended for tackling Javon.
As far as I know, the mayor, man, she was allowed. It doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
He was always at the police department.
They said
a lot of people, a lot of people said, well, why, if he's suspended, why is he still at the police department? And so, and I just see the comments of people were just saying, well, they said because he had, he had the baby up there.
Oh,
and so it was just different other things, and and nobody knew he was actually back. But when I went back to work, that's when he was on uniform. He was in uniform, so I knew he was back. But a lot of people were thinking that he wasn't back, but he was really already back at work.
And so, how long before you were suspended? As soon as you came back after your Facebook post about free Javon, or
man, that next day, I don't know if you know who Mark Kennedy is.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark Kennedy, he's a guy that, he has a media platform. He came down and he wanted to talk to the mayor, and he talked to the mayor. And just so happened, I just happened to be coming back to the police department, and he stepped out of the police department and asked me, hey, where's the chief and stuff at? And I was like, I don't know, I was like, his car's over there, I said, I lie,
Yeah.
So I mean, and they all back there hiding, and I guess don't want to answer any questions. So he shook my hand, asked me. He was like, "So did you see the video?" And I was just like, "Yeah, I seen it." Like I'm talking to you the same way.
Yeah.
And and he just like, I was like, man, I don't know why he, I can't recall what I said, but I know I told the truth, and I was just like, I was like, man, that's all the way wrong. You know what I'm saying? All the way wrong. Just speaking to my, attorneys and lawyers and stuff like that, man, just by law, man, that, anything but her, knowing that anything above the neck, I believe the neck and shoulder, man, that, and come on, in football, they say targeting, man, come on. Like,
common sense, man. And at the end of the day, you're getting violent over words.
Yeah.
I mean, how big of a man are you? You can't take some words.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, what's next? Somebody will get shot, you know what I'm saying? Or somebody saying some words, man. Anything. So a lot of people are scared to speak up at the police department. They know what's going on. A lot of the ones who are not in the clique, a lot of the ones that's not under what my friend Stocker used to say, who used to work at the police department, they're not under the umbrella.
Or that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So, just the comments that people are posting on Facebook, and basically wives, husband that work at the police department are saying, like, I can't wait until he finds something else to get away from there. So people know what's going on, but because they are afraid of losing their jobs and feeding their families.
Yeah.
Because when you're in law enforcement, man, and you go try to work somewhere else and you have to arrest this guy, I mean, you might be fighting for every day. You know what I'm saying? Because of the people that you had to deal with. So it's hard and it's scary for law enforcement officers to say, man, if I gotta find another job, because guess what? Not everybody wants to drive 30 miles to go work for another agency.
You gotta move completely.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And if you're buying a house like me, you don't have that. You know what I'm saying?
You're kind of rooted here.
Yeah, you're kind of rooted here. So I guess what? I gotta suck it up. You know what I'm saying? And go.
So they definitely pick and choose who they want to fire.
Yeah, pick and choose
for little things or not.
Yeah.
But then, as long as you're part of the group, you can do whatever.
Oh, you can do whatever, man. Even have sex in the police department.
In the police department.
Yeah, all they got to do. Michael Williams, the sergeant that all the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
Him and the dispatcher, I believe that you had. They had dispatcher.
No way.
Yeah, she's married and she's having an affair with Williams.
With Williams.
Yeah.
Is Williams married?
Yeah. Williams not married.
Not married.
So the baby that she have, she don't even know. I don't know if her husband even.
Oh God.
But when I said I was gonna talk, I was gonna tell the truth.
That's too hot for TV right there.
Yeah.
That's Jerry Springer.
When I say some Jerry Springer stuff going on in that man, the dispatcher Brianna, before she married Brittany Brooks, she slept with everybody in the police department.
Who is it?
Brianna Brooks. She
okay.
slept with everybody in the police department.
Is she?
She's Kayla's sister.
Married to Britton Brooks.
Yeah.
Now, and before she married him. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So he knows the baby probably not
Wow, bro.
But they just, I don't know if she's pregnant now or they just, but yeah, man, it was wild. Everybody was sleeping with everybody, man.
So, yeah, from the outside, you're like, oh, I'm sure they're very professional in there and they look into things and they do the right thing. But meanwhile, it's literally just Jerry Springer. It's, yeah.
Relationships going on in the PD.
It's high school drama and getting kicked out and you're not in the clique and it's high school drama is what it sounds like.
Yeah. the main thing was gonna do is I hate to see it, but they'll hunt black people down. They'll go in there and find all the ones, and they'll separate them all, and they go find all the black. And then if they can't,
they get all the warrants out, and separate all the black people out of it, and they go after.
Yeah, I'm serious. And then I said something, you know, I was like, man, y'all show like, you know, and one of the corporals said, no, it was a dispatcher at that time that just got she had just got hired. Her name was Mariah Grant. She called them out on a lot of their racist stuff that they was doing. And she said, why y'all? She said, what y'all? And they was grabbing warrants and stuff. And she messed around and said, what y'all finna do? Hun the N, you know, she said the N word. I don't want to say it on. And they just kind of stopped. You know what I'm saying? And they tried.
No.
And they were kind of surprised. She said, yeah, she told me that. She was just like,
what color is she?
She's a very light skinned female.
Okay.
So she's I want to say she's mixed with black and white. So I guess
what I'm asking is she allowed to say it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, like everyone else, they're stopping their tracks.
Yeah. The officers that was getting the warrants and stuff, and I noticed it to be true because I too have seen it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing to hear it, and then it's one thing to see it.
Targeting specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I try to act like, oh, it's not as prevalent as you want to think, but it really is, man. Like when I look around, it's not everywhere, but in specific towns, like Sherwood is one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just look up the amount of people that are black that are pulled over versus white that are pulled over for the same thing, it's a lot more, and they're getting ticketed a lot more as well. And you know, and then it goes from there. You can just keep looking. And so I've never heard that story of literally we're getting the warrants out to separate them, but it's like that's almost what you picture in your head, but surely that doesn't happen. But it is, man. Like,
and I was fair with everyone, whether you're black, you know, whether you're white, man. And that's one thing they used to, you know, say about me. They was like, John, you know, he don't care, you know. And that's the truth, man. Because guess what? In life, you know, it ain't fair. But if you have a chance to treat people the same, and if you're in a profession, I advise people to do that. There's one officer by the name of Joey Foster that works at the Stuttgart Police Department.
okay.
March the 1st is when Kayla and Jessica, and both of them are lovers, they switch positions. What I mean by that is Jessica was lieutenant of CID, and Kayla was the new and acting lieutenant of patrol. So no experience in CID now. She got experience in patrol, but went to lieutenant of patrol to lieutenant of CID.
How crazy is that? They just decided one day at the house they were going to swap tomorrow.
I don't know. I don't know, but I swear to you, and I'm honest with you, March the 1st they switched positions.
So it's that easy. I could just be a lieutenant wherever I want. Like we're in the same clique. You guys want to switch tomorrow and be different lieutenants somewhere? Like no earning the position. Know who's best for the position. I'm gonna switch with you tomorrow.
Yeah, but yet they had detectives. They had Sean Watson, who has been a detective for longer than either one of them. Which he's been the detective. I want to say at least about 5, maybe 10, maybe 8, 9 years.
And that's where he's stuck right there.
And then all of a sudden he's get. I don't know how he got demoted or somewhere. Some people say he got demoted. Some people said, you know. So Lieutenant Jessica McSwain, who's Kayla's girlfriend, said, "Well, I need a helper, and I'm taking Sean with." You know, she took Sean with her. So whether he got demoted. So now he's sergeant over sergeants, making positions up for them.
That's not even a thing. I've never heard of that.
I never heard of that either.
He's a sergeant over sergeant.
Yeah. So nobody wanted. I'm guessing nobody wanted Sean on their shift, but he came to guess what? My shift. He's been harassing me, you know, all this other time, man. All of a sudden, now he puts him on my shift. I still in the cake. I have complained. I wrote statements out to the city hall that this man has been harassing me. I done heard this man on the phone talking to another officer, and they was talking about Hannah Cloud. Hannah Cloud is a female here that's been in trouble. She's a white girl. She dates black guys. And she was like, and I remember this officer saying, Sean Watson saying, yeah, you know Hannah Cloud, she's dating that black guy, that, you know, that baboon. So I know that he doesn't like black people too often if he's going to sit right here and say. So he didn't know I was listening.
No.
But I was sitting right there. And I heard him say that. And so,
you got to think that guy's out patrolling, and you got black people that live in this town, and that's how he thinks of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That's
So,
Joey Foster.
no, that was the Detective Sean Watson.
Oh.
Now we're gonna get on Joy just here just a minute. So now there's an opening on March the 1st. Now it's an opening on the SID job. So because
The lieutenant?
yeah, now it's opening for the SID because Kayla was holding all these positions. Don't forget all the promotions she was holding all these positions.
Oh, she kept all of them.
You know, so she released the SID position once she got the lieutenant of CID. So now the girl who she first stole it from, which is Nicole, like I said, that's who, you know, the one who was getting sexual harassed, and they put her back on the street, and they took her, you know. So she applied for a Wells back again. So Nicole applied for the job again, you know, to try to get it back after they, you know, kind of screwed out the first time. And so they said, to be fair, they was going to have some outside people to kind of, you know, interview. They had Tim Blair, they had Bobo, the guy who did the Javon thing. Well, didn't do it, but was just there, you know, to stimulate it. But they interviewed the people that basically applied. So, anyways, they ended up giving it to a rookie, Joy Foster, who just got in the academy and haven't even spent 90 days probably at the police department. He automatically gets, he's in the clique now. He's in the clique. He automatically gets promoted to SID, has no experience whatsoever. Ain't even a certified officer by the standards of law enforcement. Haven't even served his 1 year to even get his certifications. Now
but he's in the clique.
Yeah.
And how? Just to make sure I got it. How is he related to?
Oh, he's not
the group.
He's not related to the group in any kind of way, but he was close with the other chief who passed away, and he's close with Palmer, which is Parker. I mean, which is our chief now that's there, who's running the town.
So he's close with them.
Yeah, he's close with them, and any like Williams is too. Williams not kidding anybody, but he's close. He's very close friends to them. You know, like he caught Jessica and Kayla out in one of the vehicles having sex. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, and so and told Nicole.
Have they ever gotten in trouble for this?
Huh?
Have they ever gotten in trouble for like having sex on the clock?
No, I mean no, because guess what? They're in the clique, so they don't tell anybody. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, and then if you go tell it, then guess what?
Crazy.
Yeah.
These are the people out here
Supposed to
with
be,
a gun on their hip telling you what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So
You used to expect a little bit more out of an officer, and it stinks when you find out it's the opposite. You know?
yeah. I went somewhere and caught so many people sleep. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? When you write people up and you do people this way, and then guess what? If they in the clique, then they're gonna come out to you. Because you might write them up one time, but you can have about 4 or 5 minutes.
They're all hanging out, they're talking shit later after work and being like,
Oh,
you
they
know
go
what
to
this
a
is
party.
on?
Yeah. They go to, like, they literally on Facebook, all of them, every single last one of them on Facebook, taking pictures together, going out some places. And so, like, if you bother to even write one of them up, man, guess what? You finna get hell rain down on you. Like, they finna write you up for some of the smallest things.
That's scary, and that's what's scary about like, you really just need to keep professional. You need to keep work professional.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, these little cliques get started.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, dude. It's actually worse than I thought.
Yeah. It's pretty bad, man.
It's one thing I just wanted to make sure. I don't think I got exactly. So, up to your resignation. So the Javon thing happens. You post a Facebook thing. You come back in, and then I'm trying to figure out. I'm asking when did they fire you? Do they suspend you?
They basically suspended me. They suspended me for 3 days. Now the captain, Phil Bogie, the one who was hiding in the room, back there in the room when you came up there one day and didn't want to talk to you, he was in the room with me just sitting down. He didn't say a mumbling word. And Sean, the new sergeant over sergeants, I guess they call it, he wrote me up. He was just like, He was like, John, you've been rolled up for basically here. You said on Facebook that you're not afraid to talk to anyone. You know, people are basically, you know, saying things about the police department, and I only said one word. I'm not afraid to talk to anyone. So you write me up for not saying afraid, and I'm not afraid to talk to anyone.
So you said you're not afraid. Like in reference to what exactly? I guess I'm not.
Well, people were referring to what's going on in town, or just talk to people about, you know, officers about, you know, what's going on, or just any general question. Looking at his phone, he said, well, you also get rolled up for this statement, right? This post right here, free Javon Turner. He said, you made the police department look bad. And I said to myself, I said, you worried about me? I said, you got a whole man to just tackle somebody on live stream.
What a great point. You're making the police department look bad.
Yeah.
But never mind the guy that literally just body slammed someone for no reason.
Yeah. So, and I just told him, he was like, here's the write up right here. You can sign, you can write down. And I said, I refuse. Not one time did the captain that was sitting right to my left say a mumbling word. Now he's over this sergeant. Phil Bolger, you're not saying anything. You know this ain't right.
Right.
You sitting over there and you're not saying a mumbling word because guess what? You know this ain't right. But you just going along with it because you're part of the buddy system and you're part of the state.
Right. Yeah. If he was mad at you, he'd be saying something too. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you letting him say it?
But
so then you didn't sign it up, or you didn't sign that, and then you're suspended for 3 days, which I guess that's what that was saying. And then you resigned within that 3-day suspension.
I went back to work. Actually, I resigned during that period of time, and I took my resignation letter up there. I sent it to my lawyer because all this time I was like, I'm done with this, man. You know, like this is too much. I'm getting treated differently than anybody else. I just kept all my documentation, everything that I was going through. I wrote it down, and I resigned May the 4th. You know what I'm saying? I resigned
on Star Wars Day.
Yeah.
May the 4th be with you.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm glad I'm away. I'm glad I'm away from that place, man. You know, I love law enforcement. You know, it's in my blood, man. But you know, at the end of the day, I gotta do what's best for my family. And I told them, I told my uncle, I told everybody, that love me as being a service representative for the city. And I told them, I said, the only way I come back there is as if I come back as the chief, because ain't nobody gonna clean that crap up.
You hear that? Who's listening? We need this guy in there as the chief.
Yeah, that's the only way.
We need to straighten some shit out.
Yeah.
In Stuttgart.
They got it so conflicted, especially with these policies, man. And it just, like I said, if I ever become a chief, man, all that stuff going away. Like we're gonna abide by the law. You know what I'm saying? The law states this, and that's what we're gonna go by. You know what I'm saying? So if we say if a person that doesn't have a valid driver's license is not allowed to drive, okay, let's do our jobs, but let's also remember that he's still a member of the community. He's still trying to get to work. Oh. So guess what? He might receive a citation that, but we're not going to put him on a stranglehold by towing his vehicle. Let's get him to call someone. Let's let him get someone here to get his vehicle. Let's also help him fill out and get the information that he needs to get his temporary driver's license. Let's do this by starting helping people. Like people are they are a member of this community, whether they come in here to live here, to work here, to still paying taxes here, no matter what happens. People are a member of this, the United States of America. People live here, man. So why are we making it harder on the people that live here? Of course, we got people that break the laws. We need to enforce the law. But quit treating everybody like a criminal.
That's the mentality that we need in police officers is, how can I help my community? Yeah. Not, I'm going to go out there and get them bad guys. Because usually they're not bad guys. They're just normal people.
Yeah. There's a lot of people, man, that's out there that's in bad situation because guess what? In child age, they had a speeding ticket, and guess what? Growing up in life, they forgot about that speeding ticket. They on the court, had a warrant, and they guess what? They done built up, and they done had a court date, and the license got suspended. Now, guess what? It's hard to get someone to take you off if you live here and you got to go all the way to Pulaski County to go to court, and you got to find somebody who can take you. But guess what? If you take a chance on driving there and you get caught, then guess what? Now you in another bind because guess what? You're gonna get a ticket from that person. So all this stuff kind of builds up, and people, before you know it, man, you got all these fines and court fees, and you got to think about it. They're taxing you when you miss court. That's like an extra, probably like $200-something that they, like they're getting you. So I mean, it's not built to get people stable. It's meant to get you, grab you, and hold you. Yeah. That's what it is. Because all them fees and stuff they add on to people.
I think it's like $20 a month. Like let's say you're paying payments on a speeding ticket, they add $20. Or I think in Conway or Faulkner County at least, it's like $30 or $40 a month now. and I think I'm not even exaggerating that they add to your bill each month or to your fine.
Yeah.
And so, well, you can only afford to pay $100. Well, so you're really just paying $60 or $70 or something, you know.
And I'm not trying to say if somebody gets in trouble that they don't, they shouldn't get punished for it. But let's be understanding. And let's have mercy that was once given to you every day that you wake up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Let's have mercy. On some of these people that we can have mercy with, man. With the fact, my auntie here, when I was a kid, she was actually beat by the police department here that I was currently work for. Yeah. They called her out one night, and there was a couple of callers that decided they was going to, just beat a couple of black people, And they did. They beat my auntie, and she sued the police department here. She was awarded some money, of course. And it happened to a couple of, they did a couple of people that night. It was all were black. So this police department has been fueled off of racism, discrimination, especially by this chief. This mayor has not denounced racism.
Was it the same chief before? Was it the same chief when your aunt got?
No, it's not the same chief. But I'm saying this
but it's perpetuated.
Yeah, but this chief, you know what I'm saying, has let discrimination being allowed at the police department. He had basically discriminated against me and another employee by saying that we couldn't work together because we were black. It's all on video camera. She has it recorded. I have it recorded.
So you went in knowing what type of police department it was. You knew damn well it was your aunt.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna be like that.
Yeah.
And then now look, like you literally got pushed out from that department for all the bad reasons. Yeah. That's pretty.
And they knew, and a lot of those people who knew that happened are still some of them probably either affiliate or either knew about it and they know who my family.
They probably already were looking at you when you first came in. Like that's the nephew of that family sued our department.
Yeah. So they
so watch him.
Yeah. A lot of things that I knew that they were doing dirty on, and they made sure that I was nowhere around. I was told as a sergeant to leave by a rookie officer. Because he was told to tell me to leave. So whenever they're doing something and they're breaking the laws, and especially if it has to do with, I noticed it mostly happened when they were dealing with mostly people of color, that, especially with something, that happened, that took place, they tell me, to leave, The moment that, I was hired, that my uncle put me up, he told me about the job. He was like, nephew, we need he said, we need some, some racial just difference in that police department, like we actually need some black officers. And so I filled out for the job and ended up getting the job, and I was trying to add some equality to the job, but I noticed that the farther I progressed, they were only sending me to the black neighborhoods.
Were they really doing that?
Yes, they were. They were sending me to McKinley and Lowe. They were sending me to
I've heard an argument about this, and it's kind of like there is an argument that you are more likely to get good with that community. Like some white cop pulling up in there, they're not going to talk to them, where they might talk to you. So I can see the argument, but also like it's strange. You can't do that. Yeah. And I'm not saying never send you there, but you can't be. They can't say, well, keep the black guy in the black neighborhood, get the white. Like that's weird. Yeah.
So it was more, and my uncle was always talking about bridging the gap, kind of like bringing us together. And so, and I noticed that, it was, and it was so noticeable that a guy that was over there, it was like a crowd of people, what I'm saying, I was kind of dealing with, I deal with a couple people out, I was not by myself at that time, but a guy looked at me, he said, they sure do keep you over here a lot. And
so they noticed.
Yeah, so even they noticed. And I felt kind of bad because then I noticed that my gut wasn't leading me wrong, that they were sending me over here. I was getting all these calls over here because it was like they were telling me, you go deal with your people.
Wow.
They wasn't literally telling me that, but that's how I felt. Because that's what would happen to me every time that I would get a call over the McKinley and Spring, Porter, and Lowell. It was a section of the neighborhood where a lot of the black community were living.
Who decides who goes where?
Dispatcher. For me to be treated this way, it kind of really hurt it, but what I'm saying, it kind of, made me see that, what did I expect? The same department, it's the same department that beat my auntie, so I wouldn't expect them to come in here and treat me with open arms. But yet still, you know what I'm saying, you know, I felt like nobody cared, you know.
I can see that. Yeah, definitely.
And then, you know, with the mayor, you know, she said, if you need anything, call me. Then you call her and you talk to her and you tell her what's going on. And guess what? The chief will call you and tell you, don't call the mayor again.
Oh my God.
So she's also going back to telling him, so
you can't even go to nobody.
Yeah, like, what's the use of you telling us that if you need anything to call you? And then all of a sudden you go tell the chief, and then the chief knows about it, and then guess what? Now he's harassing you. He's ready to, you know, let's look at him and tell that, you know, he's irritated.
Now
you know
everyone's like, what the hell's up with John?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Watch him.
Yeah. So, you know, I became the outsider very quick. I wasn't getting to back up on my calls. I was by myself, you know what I'm saying? And I watched how they backed up everybody else, you know what I'm saying? So I was alone.
That's crazy.
So if anything happened to me, you know what I'm saying, there was nobody there. So, and that's when I knew that it was time, you know, like it's time for me to, you know.
Yeah. I hate this, like, it's a bad thing, but it's probably for the best that you are out of there. Because you can go make a difference somewhere else, because they're gonna hold you down. They're not gonna let you do what you sounds like are put here to do, honestly, man. You know? So maybe, I know there's an FBI agent that watches my videos. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe you can do some investigating in the Stuttgart for us and the state police.
Yes, sir. Please do. I mean, because there's a lot of injustice going on here, especially with the prosecuting and how charges are being placed on people, and I think everybody here deserves a fair chance. Please, we need somebody to investigate Stuttgart, Arkansas. Mm-hmm.
So, you have a lawyer now.
Yeah.
What? Don't say anything you can't say, but what's your intentions? Like, what's your plan? What's the you know?
I mean, my plan is, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I want to justify how they did me. I want to justify how they treat me. You know what I'm saying? I deserve, you know what I'm saying, better treatment. Some people need to be gone from there. Some people need to be terminated with extreme prejudice from there. You know, discrimination, harassment, hostile work environment. Just the things that, you know, they plague me. They have to go and, you know, and get treatment for. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely see discrimination, and in multiple ways too. You know, whether it's sending the black guy out to the black neighborhoods, or just you're not part of the clique. Is there any black people in the clique?
No.
No, not even. Wow. So it's an all-white clique that runs that show.
Yeah.
And you know, they sleep together. They're cousins. They're
Sisters.
All that. Brother-in-laws, roommates. I mean, that's pretty in your face right there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you they think they run the show. I guarantee you this is their town. You know, they probably talk about it all the time. This is our town type stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it all makes sense why Williams thought he could just do what he wanted that day in that parking lot, because they all do.
Yeah.
So I'll watch these videos, like that one specifically. I actually just rewatched that this morning just so it's fresh. And like all the time I'm just like, why does he think he can do this?
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean? Like,
there's no consequences for him.
And I'm always just wondering, I'm always putting myself in someone else's shoes, even if that guy's an asshole. I'm like, well, maybe he's not an asshole. Maybe he's thinking about it this way, and I'm trying to understand. But sometimes, like Williams, this is one of those, I don't get it. I'm like, where do you think you can arrest him? What I'm getting at is, now it makes sense. Like, hearing what department he's coming from, now I can put myself in his shoes, and then they aren't good shoes. They're bad shoes to be in. You know, like, that's his mentality. That's where he's getting his whole mentality from. That video, that just happened to be lucky. I'm sure that stuff happens daily. And it was just lucky to be. I'm not even sure how it got out there to begin with. I'm guessing Nate put it out there.
He got that mentality that I'm the police and you're gonna do what I say.
Yes, yeah. No matter what it is, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I'm gonna look stupid doing it, but you're gonna do what I say. Yeah. Well, it's a good interview, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, good talking. Is there anything? I think we pretty much hit anything.
Yeah.
I think it's something to tell me.
Yeah. I mean, we pretty much hit on everything, man. I just wanted to, you know, like I said, tell my story and just, you know, tell what all goes on here in the city of Stuttgart. You know, they're violating people's rights. You know, I don't know what the city is for, man. I don't know what the state of Arkansas is for, but I'm for what's right. And I'm going to uphold the law. Wherever I go, you know, whatever department I be in, I'm going to uphold the law. I'm going to follow the law, man. And that's how I keep myself from being sued civilly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I told my ex-partner, one of my friends at the job, I told her, I said, listen, as soon as you get sued civilly for violating somebody's civil rights, you best to believe that department is going to throw you under the bus.
You're done. Yeah, they're going to get their ass out of it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And to cover their butt, and guess what they're going to say? Well, we fired her when we felt like she, you know, just to try to ease, you know what I'm saying? There's certain cities out here that want somebody honest, and there's some people and there's some cities out here that want somebody that's crooked. You know what I'm saying? But if you're looking for somebody that's going to uphold the law and treat everybody fair, I'm your guy.
Boom, right here. John Jackson. I think you won't have a problem getting another job somewhere, and it's going to be another department that has the same mentality as you that's reaching out. You know what I think? Let me know.
Yeah. I got you. Oh, yeah, most definitely. I'll
Keep me in the touch.
Yes, yeah, most definitely.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, we want